Today we have a very special guest on our show. It's none other than Suresh Emmanuel. Hope I got it right. Hi Suresh, how are you doing?
Hi, Ruslan. Yeah, I'm good.
So Suresh is the Chief Information Security Officer at Hatton National Bank, Sri Lanka, and he is also a mentor and also in the cybersecurity space who has a master's and also bachelor's in computer science. So Suresh, let's start it from there. Who is Suresh Emmanuel?
Okay, so Suresh Emmanuel is quite a humble and passionate individual who's tried to be, best version of himself always. So that's basically, a little bit about my direct introduction. But if you ask me in terms of profession, I'm quite a tech enthusiast, and I found the technology, and especially when it comes to cybersecurity, how it actually changes people's life. So I'm quite passionate about, learning more into these subject areas.
So the most excited question I have is at Hatton National Bank, what is the role that you are currently having and what is the journey so far in the role as you are the Chief Information Security Officer?
When it comes to my role at HNB, right? So I am directly accountable and responsible for articulating cyber and information security strategy and roadmap, and also executing it. That includes introducing technical controls and different procedural and process level controls. In addition to that, I am acting as a more or less advocate to the top management as well as to the board of directors, especially how translating technology risk into a business risk. So that includes, different level of risk in the organization, how I actually taking and highlighting them, prioritizing them, and also taking the call, what can wait, what have to be prioritized in terms of implementing certain controls and also technology-related investment to the organization. In addition to that, I'm also responsible for cyber and information security-related technology compliance and statutory regulatory requirement implementation and 100% compliance of the same.
Amazing. So Suresh, if I just ask you, from where does this journey began? The journey into the cybersecurity space and how the degree and the stuff that you did during the university era. How did everything began?
Okay, so honestly speaking, I never ever intended to want to be a cybersecurity specialist in my life. So I actually, like everyone, I want to start as I want to be a programmer. Then, a bit of hard way, I found out, coding is not my forte. Then subsequently, in my career, then I got an opportunity to work as a network administrator in a global firm. So while working there, then, I started studying and, exploring about these network security related concepts, how to secure, those days there are quite a number of malware attacks coming in. Then I'm quite passionate and, curious about learning them more. Then I actually, in the same firm, I got an opportunity to work in the information systems audit department, which is quite a responsible role from discovering technology risks from the organizations, especially identifying them and, proactively helping the financial auditors to understand the, level of assurance they can rely on the systems, so that when your financials are on systems, you need to provide assurance to the board of directors of organizations that they are properly managed and, access controls, these kind of security requirements. So basically then from there, I actually got a opportunity at another global consulting firm to move into a more consulting role in IT security. So there I actually, I gain a lot of exposure, experience, especially into consulting into global firms, and large conglomerates in the country, also to, providing consultation work. Then, I also work, then from there, I moved into the national airline. There I stayed about close to a year there. Then subsequently, I moved into the one of the largest conglomerates in the country, probably the largest conglomerate. So there I actually, expanded my capabilities, got more exposure. At same time, I started, completing my all of education, starting from international diploma in computing, from the BSc in computer science degree, then subsequently a lot of information cybersecurity related qualifications. Then also I understood at that point, I can't be good at technology, especially if I don't understand the business. So I decided, end of the day, we all work to drive the business and also to safeguard the business. Then I decided to, pursue a MBA. Then, it's a good call which I made at that time, which actually helped me to understand, the different perspective of business operations, how marketing management works, how financial systems works, especially how international business works, those kind of, the way the business operates. Then with that exposure and the experience, I got an opportunity at a bank where, to take over the cyber and information security operations in that particular organization.
Here is a man who imagined machines that could think. Today, we push the boundaries of artificial intelligence, creating solutions that shape the world of tomorrow.
In those days, when we started the education of cybersecurity, the information security, these are like quite buzzwords only. We didn't have the access to a lot of education like this before. Even like the CH kind of courses, that's the like very first time they've been even introduced to the country. And we didn't even had the recent cybersecurity at that time. That's one of the reasons I also quit the Bachelor of Computer Science or ED. So during this period, I actually continued my education work, having done in parallel. That actually helped me to leverage on the what I learned and also practice at the same time, apply the theories which I've been learning in the real time enterprise level environments, test it out. That's actually give me upper hand, obviously out of compared to the other students who probably purely doing full-time studies. I would say that actually gives me one of the advantage while with the time follow. Then from there, I established that in that particular organization where I established the security function there. Then, I took it to a different level. Then subsequently, I got another leadership opportunity. By this time, I was able to go up in the corporate ladder, come up to the assistant vice president at that organization. Then subsequently, I took over the chief information security function in that international bank. So there also, I actually started as one employee. Then it's quite a big part was all established. We are kind of having had with the business, and cybersecurity operations is very critical and crucial for the bank. One of the main reasons is, the digital trust for consumers actually comes along with the digital security. So more secure the organization as well as the digital applications, the more trust you can gain for the consumers. So that's because of that, I play a crucial role when it comes to the banking and environment.
So Suresh, that was an amazing introduction for our chat today. So if I just ask you, you have done so many researches regarding cybersecurity and around that aspect. So if you just say some key aspects that you have researched about, and if you can just give us an inspiration to the youth as well on currently how important is researching and finding new stuff and innovation.
Absolutely. So When it comes to the cybersecurity, it's a quite vast area, right? So you have different opportunities and different subject matters for you to research. The talk of the town or the buzzword or the what is the top of the hype cycle is the AI and ML, right? So these days I actually doing research using AI and ML technologies. So the research is about what is the weakest link when it comes to cybersecurity or any security when it comes to. So the weakest link is actually the human, right? So for example, you can have a most sophisticated lock on a door, right? So but anybody can't break it. It's really sophisticated, right? But just imagine, what if you forget to lock the door? So that's the difference, right? So because of the technology part is also eliminated or became null and void because of the awareness of the human. So that is why it is very important. So I decided to, I've been doing phishing simulation in my organization to identify vulnerable and riskiest users of the organization. When I've been doing this for a long time, I just, more curious to identify pattern out of them. So I actually, per phishing simulation, I mean, probably collecting about close to 6,000 to 7,000 of user data. So then when I've been doing this for like over 2 years, I actually accumulated quite a number of data. So then I decided to, why I can't do a pattern out of it. So then I actually went ahead and developed a AI ML based algorithm, which actually helps me to, identify most riskiest users of the organization. So based on that, by uploading this data, training the algorithm, then subsequently, applying it, and it helped me to identify a pattern out of, what age pattern of the users are more vulnerable, the longer they stay in the organization, how their behavior changes, and in terms of demography, how they are vulnerable, and also depending on their behavior pattern, click pattern, how they become vulnerable, and what is their behavior of their natural behavior when it comes to browsing the internet and all. So with that, actually helped me to kind of devise a different plan for different users, directing them for different level of training, including for certain habitual clickers. Sometimes you can't really tell them about the repercussions only, but you need to help them to devise a new routine for them to change their old behavior. So these kind of psychological techniques I was able to adapt as a result of my research. So I'm actually now in the process of developing this research into the next level, where when it comes to research, actually it's quite something. It's might not never end. You continue to develop a research to extent, then you leave it there at that point to somebody else to take it from that point onwards. So that's how it's actually all this time all the technology's been evolving. So similarly, I my next level of the research is to convert this algorithm to a plugin and then incorporate into popular platforms like Google Worksheets and O365 kind of platforms, a browser-based plugin which actually analyze the behavior pattern and help the users to, by flagging them probably a flag, for them to identify a phishing email depending on their behavior pattern also. So that research is currently ongoing. That's one of the very fascinating thing I've been currently working on.
He spent his career inventing the tools, toys, software, and projects that popularized the view of computers as incubators of knowledge. We carry his torch, inspiring the next generation of innovators through innovative learning experiences.
Very interesting. So, like you mentioned about the AI and machine learning coming into play. So, if I just ask you, what is the relation? What will be the future of cybersecurity and AI? So, when we connect both together, what how strong. I mean, I think it's going to be really strong, and what the things that when both combines together is going to be really interesting. What do you say about it?
Yeah, it's quite interesting question, Russell. So, if for me to elaborate that answer, I'll take the security perspective first. When it comes to security, we've been, I'm not sure your family. I'll take an example as a security operating center, right? So, security operating center is a function which actually, analyzes the logs based on the correlation rules which get detected, then subsequently do the, the escalation, and also probably you call it level 1, L1 support to identify and remediate a cyber attack, right? So if you take that kind of operation, in future, that might get replaced with the AI ML based algorithm, because we will be able to automate a lot of work using tools in future, because the most of the mechanical work can be automated through AI based algorithms. So in future we will see that the technical engineers will have probably move into different level of L2 level kind of engineering support compared to the L1 support which you've been getting. So nowadays I don't really have to write a code to develop a virus. You can ask simply any of the famous, I'm not going to mention the names, but any clone of a ChatGPT or any ChatGPT kind of AI ML based program, and you can simply ask them to now they have restriction, but people actually find a way to prompt engineer the ChatGPT kind of programs or algorithms to basically overcome their restrictions, and also to kind of develop their own viruses. So in that way, actually, anybody can nowadays, even you don't have to be a sophisticated, technologically advanced programmer to develop a malicious software. So majority of the software already available. You just need to, get one of these codes, then copy paste to one of these algorithms to modify it to a different way. Very easily, within seconds, you will be able to, create your own malware. So because of that, even for hackers, it's not only for the security professionals, but also for hackers. If we take the hackers' point of view, they'll be also using the AI ML capabilities. So they'll be automating their scanning processes, and they'll be easier for them to use a lot of technology rather than writing manual codes to develop malwares. So in that way, at some point, I would say it's kind of AI versus AI. So it's a war between two AIs with the people actually, not really the algorithms, but also who are the people being used in the algorithm. So these technologies actually plays a key role when it comes to the banking and other industries as well. So such as, in future, there will be situations, mark my words, at some point we will have customers who are not human. But I mean by that.
So it's like a faceless person, a faceless AI character.
We might have algorithm as a customer. So we might have a robot walking into a bank asking for a financial service. Even we might have a smart device or for example, a Tesla kind of a car. Just imagine you purchase a car and you give it a financial target as which is actually put onto a taxi service. Then when it finds that it can't achieve your target, it might apply for a loan by itself to purchase another car to basically achieve the financial target. But that will happen in future. The matter is whether our regulatory and other requirements are ready to cater such a evolutionized environment.
Here's a dreamer who saw the potential of a connected world. We continue his legacy, enabling humans and nature to thrive in the boundless realm of cloud computing.
This question, I mean, all the viewers might have. So, will AI replace the job of a cybersecurity expert? I'm not saying AI will replace job of you, but like, the industry. I think it's like a question that many have. Will this AI replace such a high-end job?
So I would say AI will definitely going to replace certain number of jobs. Probably we are too bit early to judge upon that, but I would say like it in a way good. Lot of work which actually not require the human touch, right?
Yeah.
The empathy as well as AI algorithm might not be able to think from the user's perspective when implementing a control. It would probably, go ahead and implement a control, whether we like it or not, whether it's going to be a very hard and fast route. But, from the user's perspective, identify it. How these users going to adapt the control. And the effectiveness of any control actually depending on, how best the users are adapting the control. You can have a barricade in there. So if users are not going through the barricade, if they are bypassing the barricade, then there's no point of having the barricade altogether. So similarly, it depending on how you think from the user's perspective and putting yourself in the user's shoes and understanding it. So that part, I think the human touch part, empathy and all these things still gonna remain as part of your job role. But the security professionals, we will use a lot of technology like AI, ML to facilitate our work to get speedy decisions, fast detections, and proactive prevention mechanisms using AI and technologies.
This visionary gave the gift of literacy to the blind. His invention changed lives then. And we're thrilled to continue on from where he left off.
So Suresh, if I just ask you, since you have done a lot of research, if I just ask you, how do you enterprise level organizations like a bank, for example, how do they build the cybersecurity strategies and the plans and all the framework? How do they build it actually? You're the best person to ask.
Yeah. So there's no silver bullet when it comes to building a strategy, but it's kind of a methodology we follow, especially building a cyber strategy. First thing to start with kind of a bank-wide or an organization-wide a gap and risk assessment, right? So that includes your external third parties you are connected to, all the business lines you are connected to, the technologies you have been using, and also your ecosystem, outsourced operations, everything, right? So because a data linkage can happen from not only directly from your organization, but also from an outsourced or third-party organization, which you are directly connected, right? Nowadays, if you can find a pattern of like most of the time, hackers actually they are smart enough that they know that you might have good level of security, especially if you are a financial organization like a bank, but they know what's the weakest thing. What's the weakest thing is your outsourced service providers or third-party vendors. They might have a direct connectivity to your environment to provide you different services. Then they also hackers also understand that these third-party service providers might not have the same level of security like you are. So that they are kind of an easy target. So they compromise these third-party service providers, then try to leverage that access and to get into your enterprise environment. Because of that, by doing a comprehensive gap assessment, also in line with global standards such as NIST Cybersecurity Framework and also ISO 27001 Human Security Management System, you will have a better idea what is the risk profile of the organization. So when you have this profile of the organization in place, you can actually prioritize your detective, preventive
other control. So the first thing you have to do is to identify. Then you need to detect. Then you can build your prevention control around them. Then subsequently, sometimes a cyber attack is inevitable. So you need to build your recovery strategies. So in case if there's a cyber attack happens, what I will be, how best I can minimize the damage, how fast I can resume my operations. So that strategy you need to have. That includes conducting cybersecurity drills as well. Then with your recovery strategies and all, you will be based on your risk profile and threat profile. Then you can start building your strategy based on and develop a roadmap of controls and converting these controls into projects and action items where you can take up on one project probably at a time and allocate resources and start developing these projects to address these risks. Sometimes certain risks cannot be fully addressed. Then you have different options like obtaining a cyber insurance, quite a buzzword these days. Then in case of a cyber attack, you probably get the financial support and also other support for you to, especially deal with probably data breach penalties from regulators and forensic support and also legal support to the further financial support. So those kind of risk transfer options and also will become handy when it comes to developing a strategy. In addition to that, you also depending on your level of tolerance and level of the regulatory and statutory requirements of the business, and you might come up with a strategy to live with certain risk as well, right? So, for example, as a bank, for us to probably have to outsource certain operations to different organizations, but by doing that, we probably need to do detailed due diligence to identify the level of risk and introduce new controls towards that. But that's probably the risk tolerance level we can go up to. But we can't totally decide to do everything by our own. For any organization, it's impossible. So that actually helps you to build a strategy depending on your risk of the organization and how you're going to prioritize them and implement them through the controls.
Amazing. Also, so what is the difference between compliance and security?
Okay, so it's like this. So compliance is actually a regulatory or statutory requirement for you to comply with by meeting certain requirements, right, by a regulator or statutory body. But by having it does not really mean you are secure. If I take example like having a SIEM or a data leakage prevention system in place might be a compliance requirement. But just having a SIEM or a DLP will not serve the purpose of security. How best you configure it, how best you leverage it, and how best you ensure the policies are implemented on ground to prevent a cyber attack or a data leakage incident. That's what matters. So probably you can be compliant, but same time you can be vulnerable as well. That's why if you take the lot of breaches happen, even the JP Morgan Chase, right? So they got breached recently. So if you take their cybersecurity budget, over $300 million per annum, right? Even that scale of a budget, still they had weaknesses to where one of the attackers got exploited them. So similarly, but if you ask them, they are compliant to all the standards, requirements starting from payment card industry standard, data privacy standard, and any other standards. But still, they were compromised because of certain security loopholes. So you can be compliant, but that doesn't mean you are secure. So that's the difference.
Amazing. So, first if I just ask you, there are many people, so probably the trend, but there are many people who wants to get into the cybersecurity industry and who are starting to learn cybersecurity. There's a lot personally I'm familiar on cybersecurity as well. So if there's anyone who wants to get into the space and get into the industry, what sort of advice that you have? And again, I'll plug in a question. But if I ask you, are there any opportunities in terms of cybersecurity? Personally, I don't see many opportunities yet in Sri Lanka. But what do you say? I'm just asking you.
Yeah. So before I answer, if I share with you a couple of stats, globally we need about 3.8 million to 4 million cybersecurity professionals, meaning there's a vacuum of close to 4 million cybersecurity professionals globally, right? In our country also the same, so we don't really find qualified and capable cybersecurity professionals in the country. So if you Google and probably what are the demanding occupations today, you probably find as one cybersecurity along with data science and all one of the top 3 occupations globally. So why is it demand? Now everything's almost digital, right? So with that current context, there's a high need for a cybersecurity professionals. So when we have this demand, but how do you produce the quality cybersecurity professionals? And that education system and also the course system, the practical training part of it, probably there's a disconnect in our country where some of your undergraduates will get a good exposure, but some might not. And also if you take cybersecurity itself, it's a quite vast area. So there are people who specialize in governance part. There are people who are specialized in offensive security part of it. And there are people who are really good at to be a SOC analyst, who are really have a good eye with the analytical skills. So you need to identify and understand, what is your level of capability within the cybersecurity domain, what level of or kind of a job you are kind of pursuing. So it might take some time for you to understand, but I would suggest you, work on different roles to understand the preference based on your hands-on application of the cybersecurity, the theories you'll be learning throughout. Then subsequently understand and decide, what will be the something that makes you happy, you will be doing it when you start doing it for a longer period of time. So based on the, then you start doing the specialization. So if you want to be a pen tester, pursue the qualifications and the training which are relevant to pen testing. If you want to be a GRC professional, pursue the qualifications which are relevant to that particular subject stream. Then subsequently you can, be rather being a jack of all. Probably if like in your batch, in your institute, you probably have 100 students coming out at the same time, but not that everybody is in the same capacity. They are quite different. And if you give them the same level of challenge, the outcome also quite different. So probably I would say the technology and the theories alone will not, gives you more leverage, but you need to have more than that, the passion towards what you are doing. Then that actually helps you to, be a specialized person and be best at what you do.
So this last question I ask, Suresh, is that I've been asking throughout my podcast, and I ask, so in terms of Sri Lanka, like I always say, we are like a bit behind in terms of technology and all the aspects that we see. But there are many people going abroad seeking better jobs and better opportunities. So if there's anything that you have to say to the youth in terms of your industry and everything that's been done, what do you say to the youth finally?
Yeah, so I mean, everybody will have a different perspective on this question. So what I would say is, grass is not really greener like you see or think about, when you try to go abroad. The market is quite competitive. Even in the country, we have enough and tremendous opportunities, right? So it doesn't matter like wherever you work, but something, as I said, you need to be passionate about it. So when I probably train about 10 to 12 graduate trainees per annum, right? So when I try to do that, so I don't really teach them technology, So, but I actually teach them how to be more disciplined, how to be the best version of them. There's a difference between being disciplined, right? So, what's your opinion on being disciplined?
Doing it in a,
Sorry for what you have
but being good at what you do in a proper way or like in a correct way?
Okay, there's no right or wrong answer. In my perspective, probably doing something maybe you don't like you like it.
So like the fake is like
For example, saying no to a piece of cake is probably the hard thing, right? But probably you might like to eat that piece of cake. But the discipline is if you decide, okay, I have no sugar this week, I'm not going to eat it. Right. Similarly, if you are to become a professional cricketer, nobody wants to wake up with the 5 a.m. and go around the grounds and do the workouts and hit the gym and everything, right? Sometimes they hate it, but still they do it. Like they like it. Why? That's the reason. So when you teach them to be, good at their soft skill and be the best version out of them, they automatically get that what they do. So they want to be the best pen tester. They want to be the best, GRC professional. They want to be best data privacy protection professional. So that's the, something I found out over the period of time, which I've been teaching to my direct reports and my employees or my staff members who are working directly under me. So by doing that, I found their productivity and their passion and actually really improves, and also it actually gives them a leverage and upper hand ahead their other colleagues and peers in the industry as well. So like I said, whether it's about the journey you are adapting, and it doesn't matter where you are, overseas or in the country, everywhere there are tremendous amount of opportunities, but how you be good at what you do, that's what matters. And have targets, drive them relentlessly, then you will obviously excel in what you do.
great answer. So is this your, I'm just asking, is this your first podcast or you have to?
Honestly, I'm very privileged to be here, and this is my first podcast as well. And thank you very much for the question.
Thank you so much, Mr. Suresh. Despite your busy schedule, I know, I can imagine how busy you are with the amount of attacks you get every month. Thank you so much for being here and sharing a lot of insights to the viewers, and I think it's a great episode today we have done. Thank you, and we'll see you again. Thank you so much.
Pleasure of mine.